Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Distance Dilemma podcast. My name is Shaun, and I'm in Dublin, Ireland. And this is Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland, and this is our long distance friendship podcast. And before we get into our usual business and we kick things off out of context weekly scenarios, we have a quick bit of news for you guys. Like we did in August, September last year, we're just going to take a little break for a few weeks. It's just some scheduling issues.
Oh,
I'm starting a new job, and my schedule is just changing a little bit. I'm also going away for a week as well. Imran's also a fairly busy boy over the next few weeks, and we thought it'd be a good time just to take a little break. So for the next kind of 4 or 5 weeks, there will be no new episodes of The Distance Dilemma. Think of it as a perfect opportunity to catch up on any episodes from a few weeks ago that you may have missed. But yeah, don't worry, we will be back. It's not we done this before. We done this in, I think it was August, September. And it ended
August,
up
yeah.
being really great for us to kind of come back and be more creative and be more passionate about it as well. Just letting you know about that at the start of the episode. There will be no new episode next week, but we'll be back at the beginning of June with brand new episodes, and they'll be back weekly as well. Anyway, with that out of the way, we are going to go on with business as usual, and we're going to kick things off with out of context weekly scenario. So Imran, what is your out of context weekly scenario?
My out of context weekly scenario is I saw an unusual vending machine.
An unusual vending machine. Okay. So I'm assuming you want me to guess what's being sold in this vending machine.
Correct.
Okay. Was this in work?
No.
Was this on your trip with Nicola at the weekend?
Yes.
Okay. And it was in the cabin.
Near the cabin, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is that like some sort of communal site for the cabin?
It was more, I don't want to really turn around. It was like near, it wasn't at the cabin, but it was near the area of the cabin.
Right. Okay. Was the food being sold in the vending machine?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a weird food item.
Yeah.
Is it junk food?
No.
Is it fruit,
No.
vegetables,
No.
meat?
No.
It's not junk food. Um, is it like anything got to do with like health and wellness?
No.
No.
I
It's just
wouldn't, I
like
wouldn't, I wouldn't classify it as
yeah.
health and
I
wellness.
I was kind of going like down like the protein bar, creatine kind of route with that.
No, 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 no.
Um, it wouldn't be that weird, but so it's something weird, a weird food being sold.
It's the
It's
first
not.
time I saw in a vending machine.
Yeah, I initially before if you'd said no to food, I thought you were gonna go because I've seen vending machines with like guitar strings and like capos and stuff like
Oh,
that.
didn't even know
In
that was a thing. That's pretty
yeah,
cool.
you get it in like rehearsal studios
Okay, okay.
and like there's some venues and stuff that have them backstage, which like it's pretty cool. It's more
That's
of a
cool.
prop.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
prop thing.
what? It's a weird food. Is this something you like yourself? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
would we have eaten this together at some point?
I'm sure we have, yeah,
Okay,
at some point.
but it's not so it's not crisps or anything.
Not crisps, no.
Um, it's not fruit. It's not vegetables. Is anything got to do? Is it like? Is it something that is Irish that was in this vending machine?
There's nothing that was Irish in the vending machine, but you can find this in Ireland. Not in a vending machine though, but in a shop you could find it in Ireland
Okay,
and worldwide. Mhm.
cigarettes.
No,
He said to eat, so it's not going to be vape. Um, I'm just trying to like go through this. It was food though. It wasn't drink. It's food.
definitely food. Yeah.
Food. Okay. I was like, is it? Did it have like chocolate milk or something for a major?
I would love that.
Was it? Was it a frozen item like or a cold item?
There was cold items also in the vending machine.
Okay, so it's not like a frozen pizza or something.
No,
Is it?
nothing
Is
was
it?
per se frozen, but yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
It's but it's on the colder side. This
On the
item.
colder side, correct. Yeah.
Okay, so is it yogurt?
There was yogurt in it, but that's not what I want you to find. Because primarily that was like on the bottom shelf. but you're starting to get in the right
Was
food
it
category.
so? Was it dairy?
Yes.
Okay, cheese.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
So well done. I was walking. So me and as Shaun said, me and Nick went to a cabin at the weekend. It was lovely. And we went out on a walk to like go around the area because we have never been there before. And where we were staying was kind of on a hill, but at the bottom of the hill, as you get back onto the main road, it was like near a bus stop. I just seen this vending machine and I was like, what's in that vending machine? Like I was looking across the road, like, what's in there? I was like, let's cross over here. And I went over, and the whole vending machine was just filled with different types of cheeses. Obviously, Switzerland's very, well known for cheese. And it's like, they had like fondue sets, they had raclette, they had at the bottom like yogurt, they had like gherkin. So it's probably for people that, are doing some kind of cheese board or fondue set or raclette. It's very popular here. But I was just thinking, Nicola, I was like, I say if this is directly in the sun, it's probably stinking. Can you imagine
Yeah.
like 30 degrees sun beaming on a vending machine? Now, in fairness, the vending machine did stink. Because if I was thinking about it, it's all in one area refrigerated, and if it's the sun's facing on, I was like, what the hell? But yeah, that's the most Swiss thing ever. When I saw, I was like, yeah. I mean, I wasn't complaining. I mean, if you're a cheese lover, it's probably really good for you. I also did hear once see, you can also buy pregnancy tests in a vending machine here in Zurich.
I
Also,
mean, fair enough.
I mean, not necessarily a bad thing. I also think they do stuff like power banks as well. Like you can buy power banks and like cigarettes and stuff like that. So I guess
I've
it's
seen
not such the worst thing.
I've seen power banks in vending machines over here before as well.
Yeah, I think they're more like stuff that like you
Cigarettes
can
is a bit of a
actually
mad one.
use.
Like, how do you check people's ID?
Yeah, I'm sure they have probably have like some kind of ID scanner or something like that built into
Mm.
the system, but I don't know how that works. But anyway, you found it. Well done. Bit easier than last week, considering it
Yeah.
was like I won't give away to the listeners. You'll have to go back and watch that episode. But anyway, what is your out of context with this now?
My out of context weekly scenario is a altered performance.
An altered performance. Does this have anything to do with you playing music?
Yeah.
Okay, was this at your band rehearsal last night?
No.
No. So was that at rehearsals though?
No.
No. Okay. So were you playing in the house?
No.
Did you have a gig?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay. Were you playing music in front of somebody?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're playing music in front of them. Were you playing music in front of your family?
No.
Your job?
No.
Okay. So it involves you playing music to someone, correct? Just before I start going on down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Was this in the house?
No.
No. Was it at your nanny and granddad's?
No.
Was it in the car?
No.
The gym?
No.
No. I'm trying to think of the local places that you go to
Yeah.
first before I speak for.
This happened at a place where I am at weekly. So you're
Oh,
going
was
to
that
like
football? Was that football?
no.
No. The supermarket?
No.
Okay. The supermarket and football. Was it out on a walk? Was it out on a walk? No. Gym, not the gym, nothing. Where were you weekly? Not in the house. No. And you weren't in the car when you were doing the cider?
No.
No. Okay. Let me see if I can less focus on like where you're going. Did you have to change the way you play the song?
Yes.
Was it your original song?
Yes.
Yes. So maybe it's a bit more upbeat and you did like an acoustic version, that kind of way?
Not really, no. But
Did you play it on the electric guitar rather than the acoustic guitar?
You were getting. So I played it on the acoustic guitar when I don't normally, but I didn't like change the tempo or anything. Like I played it as upbeat as I normally do, but there was something that I had to do different. And it's more the thing I wanted to try and get is why I had to alter it more than
okay, why you had to alter it.
Yeah.
Were you recording yourself playing this? No. So it was a live performance. Oh, was this like you help your mate Adam set up for a gig each week? Was this at this? Okay.
Yes, correct.
So
yeah.
Was there like a free lineup and you like pulled in and you just had to do like a quick little acoustic session really?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, you're on the right track there, yeah.
Okay, so now we've got the set. You're at the gig.
Mm-hmm.
I know you help your mate set up each week. Did you have your guitar with you or was it somebody else's guitar?
This is somebody else's guitar.
Somebody else's guitar. Okay, so now I'm starting to get situation right. So you're at the gig, you ask if someone could use their guitar. Um, was it like a ukulele? Was it like a ukulele or any of that kind of
No,
form? Is that why you had to change it? No. Was it not a plug-in guitar? I mean, acoustics are plug-in. I don't know if that's wrong or me, or I don't know anything about
no,
that.
the guitar was able to be plugged in, but I know what you're asking.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
No, that wasn't.
Why are you having to change the
Yes,
format of the song? That's what I need to
I'm
figure out.
gonna give you a clue. So the reason I had to change the format of the song wasn't anything got to do with the venue or the instrument. It was totally something got to do with me.
Was the length of the song was a
No.
bit too long, you know? Okay. Why would you
And
have to cut it down?
the other clue, this doesn't like massively help you, but it's not a new song. It's a TV show. Like it's a song I've played
Okay.
loads of
But TV show
times.
is quite well upbeat.
Yeah,
So
but I had to change something about my performance, and what I wanted to get is why. And it's not like I said. The clue I'm giving you is that it's not environment. The reason is not environmental. It's because of something got to do with me. And yeah, I don't want to give you much more than that. I wanted to try and work out why I would have to change how I'm doing something.
did you have to like run to the bathroom mid performance and you just have to cut it down? No.
No,
I wonder if there's any artists on this. They definitely have. Um,
the Gary Lineker.
yeah, the Gary Lineker. So it's nothing to do. It's not because your band wasn't with you at all. That just as primarily has to deal with you.
Hmm.
Okay, why are you having? And it's nothing to do with cutting it short. You just have to change the way you played the song.
Yes.
Yeah. Why would you have to change the way you play the song? Was there like I know it doesn't there's no offenses in the crowd, but did you have to like change a format because of like the crowd? Does it have anything to do with the crowd at
No.
all?
No.
No.
So
And it
all right,
doesn't have to do with time.
I'll give you one more clue. It's because of the reason I had to change the way I performed it was because of how I play the guitar on it. Nothing to do with it being upbeat. It's because of literally how I am playing the guitar. There's a reason I couldn't perform it as I usually do because of the way because of the way the guitar is played.
Was it missing a string?
No, good. That's a good guess though. That is a very good guess because that does happen a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like you break a string in the middle of a song and you got to fix it
Yeah.
maybe.
Um,
But you haven't really tapped into the why at all. Like I would go back to back to more basics with the why.
why?
Wow.
Wow. Um, I'm trying to think of in terms of the should I be focusing? I know I'm asking for like guesses here. Should I be focusing on the guitar aspect of it?
No.
Does it have anything to do with the microphone that you're singing into?
No. What
You
do
didn't
I?
have you didn't have that foot pedal that you normally play with now. I don't know what it's called.
No. No.
No. What do you
So
normally do?
what do this is the last thing I'm giving you because I think this should really give it away.
Okay.
What do I use to play guitar? What do I have to actively use to play guitar?
The what my mind's gone black. I don't know what it's called, but
Pick.
the pick.
No. You're getting
What do you
warmer.
have?
You're getting warmer.
Speakers? You had no speaker? What am I missing? Like, do you only need your pick and the guitar? What else do you need to play the guitar?
What else do you use while you're playing the guitar?
Again, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the thing you put up the top of the guitar,
Capo? No.
a capo. What else do you need?
I think I'm
You
gonna
have
have to call you
was
here,
your
man.
did you break your arm or what's the story here?
I
Did
didn't
you have
break my
both your
arm.
hands?
I didn't break my arm, but you're getting warmer.
Give me one more guess. Let me just try
Yeah,
see
yeah.
if I can figure this out. My
You're
God.
getting warmer there, though. You've tapped onto what's going on.
Did you have like your watch on and it was getting like awkward for you to play like you were leaning against the guitar, which makes no sense because your hand would be on the bottom. Ah, Oh, you had no strap. You had no strap on the guitar, so you had to hold the guitar down. That probably makes no difference as well.
Well, actually, you're actually correct in that sense, but that's not why the performance was altered. But this guitar didn't have a strap, and it did make it a bit more awkward to play. But that's not why the performance had to be altered.
Was the size really small of the guitar? Like it was too small for you or too big?
No.
And again, it makes sense. Like, okay, I'm taking the L here again. Lads, we need to figure out how I can like get better at this game. I need to do some
I think
training when we have this
I
break.
think
Like,
initially with the actual statement that I gave you, like of an ultra performance, it wasn't that easy. But I think when I tell you
at least
now,
I got the situation.
you got the
I'm taking
situation,
that.
you got
I'm
the
taking the
environment and
situation.
stuff.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Anyway, go.
Anyway, the reason I had to alter my performance is because I slit my finger with a knife, and I couldn't use one of my fingers while I was playing the guitar.
How
So I
the
had to.
hell was I meant to get that, man? What the hell? That's that has nothing to do. Okay,
No, that's
I'm
so
not taking that.
the full thing with that was so that day, as you mentioned, every week I've been going up and helping my mate Adam set up for the open mic,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't play it often. Like it's one of those things where like sometimes if like we haven't got enough people in the room yet, or like we want like Adam might just say to me, Sean, do you fancy doing a song for 5 minutes? But yeah, Grant, or do you fancy doing two songs? Grant, doesn't happen every week. He just kind of says it to me whenever we need to bulk up the lineup. I said, yeah, Grant, no problem. But that day I was making dinner for us, and I was chopping onions, and I sliced down my ring finger, and it meant that I couldn't play bar chords, which is like the one where you
Right.
go
Yeah.
down like that. So it
Yeah.
meant that I couldn't play certain chord shapes, which a
Right.
lot of my songs use those type of chords. So
Right.
one had to be like, what song am I going to play that has the least amount of bar chords, or at least the least amount of bar chords that I can like translate into a different thing.
Okay.
So that's what the thing was. I know that wasn't the easiest, but I think I was trying to get you to focus on my hands there when I was like, not the guitar itself. What do I use to play the guitar? I actually, you were looking, and I was like, the users wouldn't have seen this because you were talking, but I flashed my hands up like this for like 4 seconds.
Okay, I didn't even
Like that.
notice that. I
Yeah.
didn't even notice that. I don't know why that just didn't come into my perspective. I would have never like again. It's so important because you needed to play the guitar,
That's I was
obviously,
trying to get
but
you
I
to
just
focus
never
on
would
my
have thought.
hands and be like, and when you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
broken arm, I was like, if you just move up the arm a bit more.
yeah. Because I did say if
There
you
was an
injured
injury
your
to my
arm,
hand.
yeah, your hands. Yeah, okay, fair. I'll take the L on that.
Yeah.
I'm glad I got the situation. I'll take that. I'll take half a point.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna start giving myself points here. Like, it's just ridiculous. I'm gonna be playing games, trying to get better at this during the break.
Just playing Guess Who, honestly.
Just playing Guess Who, exactly, man.
Uh,
Exactly.
anyway, so moving into our topic for this week, lads. We touched on this last week, and we just thought it'd be a bit of a funny one to discuss. But we want to talk about the performative males in today's society. We're doing this more as like an analysis thing.
Yeah,
We're
it's a
not
joke.
looking to
It's a
poke.
joke manner. Yeah.
We're not looking to poke fun. There's things I have listed here that I do. There's things I'm sure that I'm gonna say that Imran does. I'm sure there's things that you do here. It's more the culmination of all these things that is making the performative male. And look, there's somebody I have in my life who I absolutely love to bits, but they are exactly what I would describe as a performative male. And it's no hate. It's nothing to be like, oh, this is something to be looked down upon. It's just yeah, I think it's just going to be funny to analyze, and I think it makes for an interesting conversation.
Yeah, I asked Shaun to make a small description of what he believes to be a performing male, but I thought it'd be interesting to give like an actual Urban Dictionary definition of what it is perceived to be a male, performing male. So, as of 2025, a social media term describing a performing male is a man who adopts a curated soft aesthetic, such as drinking matcha, carrying tote bags, and loudly supporting feminist values. The description is actually given in the dictionary. It was pretty funny. Um, I think the push for this has primarily started from Pinterest. I don't know if you are involved in the Pinterest community or you know much about Pinterest, but Pinterest is supposedly it's like an idea where people get curated ideas for like bedroom decor, or they use it as like learn how to dress, like different styles and stuff like that. You can use it for many things. You can use it for music, football. It's like kind of like an aesthetic wall that people curate and they like go forward from that.
Mm.
What did you have down as like your first kind of written things that you had about performative male?
So the first thing the first thing that kind of pops to my mind when I think about this type of thing is the modern mullet haircut.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, it's just one of those things that so like my first initial ones that I had written down here like this before like I actually like properly like it's like let's flesh this out a little bit more. But modern mullet haircut, they go to charity shops and coffee shops just to look interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
They talk about things they don't fully understand to seem impressive, like a lot of feminist topics, feminist literature, and all that sort of stuff. They play guitar
Of
and they
course.
post cringy love songs.
Yes. Yes.
That's the first few things that kind of came to my head when I think performative male, like that's kind of like the flash that comes up.
I didn't have the mullet, but I did have the round one earring. The it's like it's the earring that's kind of like a cylinder shape, and it's like
Right.
only one though. So I can imagine like a guy with a mullet, but only the one earring just to look edgy. You know what I mean? Like it's not like I'm not gonna do the two earrings because that's like too societal. I'll just do like the one earring just to look a bit flashy at the edge.
Mm.
Another thing I had as well was the matcha drinking, which guys, I need to call this out. Matcha is grass. Why are you all drinking grass and then taking photos and trying to look aesthetically that you're drinking grass? It's kind of like we used to judge animals. Like I thought maybe they probably don't, but like animals that are like spend half of their day just eating grass, and now we've like as humans to try to adapt it on and make it into a drinking format. And now that we're paying 9 quid for matcha, it's just like what is going on?
I
Have you tried
disagree.
matcha?
No, but you know what's
No.
funny, right? There was one week where this is months ago, and I say this with love and like as a funny thing. But me and Simone were in the supermarket. We were in
Mm,
Dunn's, and we were doing our shopping. This, like I said, this is months ago, and yeah, anybody who shops in Dunn's, you'll know they do like the 10 off. €50 vouchers. So like basically, the more you spend, the more money you'll get off in vouchers and such and such. So it benefits
mm,
you to kind of like bring up your spending. And we were walking around the aisles, and we saw this like vanilla matcha that Simone really likes from like the coffee shop that she goes to in Blackrock. And I was like, oh, just grab it. But it was like 14 quid. And she was like, oh no, like I'm not paying 14 quid for something like that. Like I only drink like one or two a week. Like, it's not going to be worth it. I was like, I don't care, get it if you want, like.
yeah.
And then like it came to the till, and like we needed to spend like another €12 to unlock like another like set of vouchers. And I was like, just
Okay.
go get the matcha thing. Like she bought it, and she was like delighted, and she like said she was fucking chuffed that she got it. Has still up there, hasn't been opened.
Yeah.
Like,
Maybe I'll have to have a little bit of matcha after the podcast
yeah,
just to try it.
yeah.
Yeah, the thing I have as well is like the wired earphone push. I don't know if you've seen this. It's kind of making
Mm,
a comeback. Nicola actually has it as well. And she told me she purposely just wants. I mean, I got it for Christmas last year, and she told me she purposely just wanted it for the idea of the aesthetic. And I have a think about this, right? In the gym, you probably know this as well. Wearing wired earphones does not work
it's making a
because
hole.
if you try to do anything that's above your shoulder length, the earphones just get pulled from your phone. And I know this because when I was younger, I couldn't afford the headphone, the wireless headphones. This is when we're talking like when we're just starting to go to the gym, 15, 16, we don't have jobs at all at that point. And then you get wired headphones or you get the beats that your ma bought you from the fairy house market that you think you're sick with that have that terrible sound. And then you started to get into like the wired earphones thing, it
Yeah,
started coming out. And like a man who was, using AirPods now, I can never see myself going back to that wired earphones. And not even for an aesthetic. I suppose it's good if you're like your earphones die and you have a
mm.
backup. But if you're using it for a general aesthetic and daily use, like I see people cycling a bike using it, and I'm like, that's just awkward because it's just gonna come
That's a health and
flying out.
safety risk, brother.
It's a health and safety risk, and also if you're going to go over a curb or you hit something, it's gonna fall out. I mean, it's probably better that at least you're doing it instead of an AirPod because the AirPod will probably just go flying out on the road. But yeah, I don't know. This whole aesthetic with the wired earphones thing is just not my vibe. Have you got
Yeah,
anything else written down?
well, like the one thing I will say about wired headphones, right, in their defense, right, and this is just like absolute fact as a musician, right, wired
Mm-hmm.
headphones have way better sound quality, right. That
Yeah, I'm
is
sure they do.
and it's just because of how like signals are transmitted through Bluetooth. It's not as high quality. Even like if you get like a wired set of headphones from like 2005, 2007, 20 years ago, they're going to be better quality than most wireless headphones or AirPods or whatever on the market. So I agree with you that like people are doing that. And I find it mad that like you said Nicola wanted it just for the aesthetic. Like no,
That is a
I
major thing though now. Like a people like she's not the only person who said this for me. Like I've got a couple of friends here as well that have done said the same thing. Like it's the I think our generation now is turning into such aesthetic. Like everything needs to look aesthetic. And we talked about this before about Instagram. Like you see people like are taking aesthetically pleasing photos. Or like if you I don't know, like if you look at fashion influencers, for example, like all of it is the same. It's just copy and paste of
mm,
matcha, Warrior earphone, Henleys, tote bags. It's the same format. It's basically an NPC for fashion people.
yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It's yeah, I don't know. I feel like whenever I'm like buying stuff like that, like headphone, like stuff that you're gonna use daily, like that, like efficiency is the most important thing for me. Like aesthetic is nice. Like I think of aesthetic more like when it comes to like my office space or like sitting room, but when it comes to like my fashion, this. I have been.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just wear jeans and a band T-shirt
Yeah,
or
it's the dad
pants.
look. Yeah,
And
it's the
it
dad
is
look.
it is the dad look, but you know what? It's affordable and it's flexible.
True.
I could go to like a job interview and just change my top right now, and I wouldn't look out of place. Or like I could go to like a corporate event or something like that. I wouldn't look out of place.
Look,
Um,
I
this
fell
probably
into
says
that.
more about my bad fashion sense than anything
Look,
else. But
I also fell into that bracket of going through different phases of how I dress. I dress like the yup bro. I dress like the indie rocker. Then I don't know. Now I'm kind of just wearing plain clothes, right? Like base colors, no logos, things like that. As I'm wearing a Nike fucking zip up, but what's it called
indoors as well.
indoors as well. But the thing trying to get at here is like the lean towards the Doc Martin look. You often find this as well with the people that go to festivals and gigs as well. That primarily you ever see 90% of people are wearing Doc Martens, right? Doc Martens are very uncomfortable at the start. I don't know if you've ever had a pair or you've ever tried on a pair. They take like months to wear in, so it's kind of like
Yeah.
you've got to go through the pain to like look aesthetically cool because they're they've been around for so long. It's kind of like Converse, any shoes that have been around for a long time. They're a reason because they're just classics. They come in and go, like they're just a classic shoe. But the Doc Martin thing is funny for me because it's like it falls into the brackets of like moving into like the music side of like what a performative male is.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you're at a gig and you're probably standing for 4 to 5 hours and you're wearing Doc Martens. Like, I know you're not comfortable right now. Like, you are in pain. Like, when I go to gigs, I'm at that unk status now where I'm wearing like New Balances or like stuff that has like a good cushion on it because I know I'm
Yeah.
standing for 4 to 5
Absolutely. Yeah.
hours. Like book looking pleasing or anything like that anymore. Is there anything else that you had like maybe we could go a bit into the music? So you kind of mentioned the
That's
last thing about the Fontaines push.
yeah, that's exactly where, because you just mentioned there, that's where I was going to lead into. Like, that's one thing that like these lads that are like they're only listening to certain music because it's popular, or they're trying to like grasp onto this thing of like, oh, I was listening to them when they had only 100 listeners on Spotify, like this kind of
Mm,
way. And like it's always the most like vanilla basic ass music. Like, and I've been very upfront about this with like my friends and stuff. Like, I don't understand the hype around Fontaine's DC whatsoever. I think they've got one or two alright songs, like, but I don't understand why they've become the biggest band in Ireland, and like why they're booking they're booking like mad worldwide festivals. Like, I'm fair play to them. I'm not hating on them. Like, I accept that, like, no, this is just my music taste and it's my opinion and it's me against the masses, and that's 100% fine. Like, but
yeah.
like, I find Fontaine's kind of is that band because that for guys, and I feel like the female equivalent, and this is an artist who I do actually like a little bit more, is Seema. Seema has become kind of that way. Like, now that's, I feel like, no, the performative male will be like, oh yeah, I love Seema, I love Sneaky
Yeah,
Sean,
yeah,
I love the deep cuts, like fucking Jamie Oliver petrol station, like,
yeah.
and like, and I say this as somebody who, like, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Seema fan, but I really like some of her songs. I've got a couple of her songs in my playlist. Like, I appreciate it, and I think she's a great role model for people to be looking up to. But like, it's the way they like are performatively listening to her and being like, oh, look at me, I listen to this pro Palestine feminist, like, and like showing off that, like,
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I like Fontaines, but I get it. Like, I get what Finn's trying to get at here. It's also kind of funny to me about Fontaines is the more they made music, the more the Dublin accent tried to be portrayed. And it's like, bro, you're literally from Southside Dublin. Like, please. Like, that's the funny. When I first found out that he's from Southside, like, I couldn't stop laughing because it's like your accent is just so put on that it's like, and then it's weird because, like, they have such a huge following now in the States, which of course is a big Irish, culture living there. But then it's like also in South America, they've gotten so popular as well. And it's like, the people that say they identify themselves through one band, and we've talked about this before, and Shaun can probably talk about this because he was a huge Oasis fan growing up. Like it was his personality. Like he knows this. But
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
people like portraying, I listen to Fontaines, like I'm that hip that I listen to Fontaines. Clairo is another one. She's like a soft R&B artist. You often see lads, like it's so funny. You have like a 6 foot male, looks like a Greek god, but then he listens to this soft boy aesthetic Clairo, and it's just like, bro, come on. Like we said last week, just say you like Monster Trucks. You don't have to portray this for the huzz. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's probably important just to say like that in a performative way of like of being
Yeah.
like, oh, like
Everything we're
the
saying here is like, it's for show.
because I don't want to land in hot water and be like, oh, you can't listen to this type of music if you are a 6 foot
Whatever you
male,
want, like.
blah, blah. Like listen to whatever you want, but it's more like the showing off in a performative way that we're kind of talking about here. Like I don't want people being like, well, Shaun and Imran said that, like, you shouldn't be, like, you shouldn't listen to, like, listen to whatever fucking music you want, like, but listen to it because you
Finn just
actually
doesn't
like
want to
it.
get battered by a 6 foot Greek god on down on Temple Street.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
all
true.
tuning in to the distance dilemma.
No, I
Um,
just feel like it's starting to get the performative males thing is starting to be pushed like so much more. And like it's kind of a thing, it's like we talk about this thing about NPCs and it's like the copy and paste thing. It's like if you're just listening to it just to I don't even want to say fit in because it's probably the opposite now. It's kind of like look edgy than you actually are. I mean, you see this with a lot of artists. They trying to put on this portrayal of themselves, like trying to adapt a new lifestyle. And I don't think that necessarily is a bad thing because you're trying to re-identify yourself, like in the social media eye or whatever. But it's kind of a thing. It's like, are you even like, do you even enjoy listening to the music? Do you actually
yeah.
like having, like a vegan croissant? Like, do you know what I'm trying to get at here? Yeah.
Mm. Just to kind of end things on maybe like a lighter note, is there anything that you do yourself that you think could be considered a performative male thing?
Oh, I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. Um, for a while, I've really wanted a tote bag because it just seems efficiently to go to the beach, but I just haven't found one that's like not like fitting into that, Pinterest edgy boy look. But I actually think they're really convenient because it's like I always wear my school bag, but then it's like I also seen this thing the other day and it's making me not want to wear school bags. It's like, do you want to be 30 and still using a school bag and like looking like you're still going to secondary school? And now I'm like, okay, now do I need to switch to like the aesthetic leather man bag look, which I also hate because it also makes you look like a hipster. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like these things that I can't get out of my head is like the hipster slash Pinterest look is sort of a difficult one. So I think that's the only one I can think off the top of the head. I'm sure there's lots. Maybe you could think of one for. Do you know if there's one of me that you think of that I do? That might be interesting. Is there anything do you think that I do that is like
Yeah.
somewhat performative male?
I don't think, I think like you kind of touched on, like, I think you've gone through fashion phases where like
Yeah, so many times.
where like I would consider it to be a bit more like, basic NPC sort of thing, but like you kind of said that yourself as well. So
Yeah, of course. It's like falling into fashion, following trends. It's like it comes and goes. Like it's
yeah,
yeah.
I,
Um,
I think as well though, like with like I use tote bags very specifically at gigs for like I'll put my personal stuff in tote bags. So like if I have a tote bag, it's a Corona's one, and like I say personal stuff, it's got deodorant, it's got a bar, chocolate protein bar of some
the things you
sort.
need.
Yeah, it's got a spare T-shirt for me, and like I'm like, right, okay, that's like not my rig and gig stuff. Like this is like, okay, my sweat towel and stuff goes into here, like. But no, yeah, I think you give I think you give tote bag vibes. I think
Yeah,
I've
yeah,
seen
yeah,
you in a
yeah.
tote. I think maybe when we
I've
went to the
never owned a
beach,
tote bag. Never owned a tote
I'm
bag in my
pretty
life.
sure I've seen you carry one at least. If Nicola got one, maybe.
The one thing I do say, I do carry a tote bag and a bag like a male, and then I don't want to like come across there as like a male, but I carry a tote bag like by my hand. Like I don't throw it over the shoulder and walk with it. I don't know if you ever see that. Like it's like, when like your girlfriend asks you to hold her handbag, but you don't want to look too girly and sassy with it and put it over your shoulder. So you like hold it in your hand like you're gripping like
Oh,
an
I'm the
apple or
opposite.
something.
Me and Simone went to the cinema at the weekend to see the drama, and I threw that thing over. Like she went into the toilet, I threw it over like
Ooh,
that. And like
Finn was sassy.
I was wearing like a black top, and like this was like a luminous knitted bag, like so it was fucking standing out. But look, I look
Yeah, yeah,
fire. I look fire,
yeah,
like
yeah.
And if anybody has anything else to say on that, go fuck yourself.
Is there anything you feel like that you do that's a bit, performative male?
I don't know if this is considered performative male, but like I think I did this for a long time. But like I would refuse to get my hair cut every like 3 or 4 weeks because I didn't want to be like everyone else. So like I would like grow my hair out all the time, and
Okay.
I'm still guilty of this sometimes. Like I'm like not getting a haircut because I'm like I don't need like, cause I've known people that have had to get their hair cut every 6 days, and I've known people that like
Oh,
religiously get their hair cut every 2 weeks. And I'm like, man, like if you're like for me, who's going to the barbers and getting like a taper fade and my beard done, that's 35 quid minimum.
yeah.
So I'm not spending that every 2 3 weeks on it. My baseline for my haircut is once I either have to have trimmed my beard 3 times, or if like the hair is like going over my ear and starting to go into my earlobe, that's when I'm like, right, okay, it's probably time to go get a haircut, like or like
Yeah,
if
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
really, that's like my basis for it. But I think at times like it's also been like a rebellion thing of like, oh, I'm not like all these other lads, like I don't need to get my hair cut every once in a while. But and then like I get my hair cut, I'm like, I feel so much better about myself. I wonder why.
It's honestly for men, it's like just like that first walk to the car, or like going. You have to accidentally stop into the shop to show everyone a new haircut. It's like
Yeah,
it is such a primarily thing for
yeah.
that one day when you've got a fresh cut. You just start feeling yourself a bit differently. Like I'm sure it's a confidence thing. It's just like, oh shit, I'm feeling myself. I look great.
There
I've
was a
been
guy I
trying this.
knew. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, go on. Oh, Matt, happy New Year. The one thing I would say is like I've recently just been starting to get. I know I literally have a fade right now, but I'm starting to get really fed up with getting fades because it just like it's starting to like once it grows past the third week, and I'm kind of like you, where it's like I don't feel like spending 40 quid or 35 quid with tip on a haircut every single 2 weeks. So I'm starting to come into the thing is like I might just start trying to do the taper look because it's just like at least then it's like it's less hassle. You can just, get them to shape up your beard and your hair and your
That's
grand, you're gone then.
exactly. I started getting tapers like a year ago, and it
Yeah.
just means that like I can shape up my beard, and I genuinely look like I've not just gotten a haircut, but I look way more sharp and fresher just by literally trimming, like doing like just lining up my beard with my electric razor, like and trimming my mustache, and like I look like a lot. Just I'd say like a lot cleaner is probably the
A
better
bit
word for it.
more put together.
Exactly, a bit more put together. I know we have to move on to current affairs as well, but there was
Yeah.
a guy I just like when I think of these type of guys, like with haircuts specifically. There was a fellow I used to work with, and I remember he got his haircut in the middle of work one day, and he like threw a fucking tantrum like in work. Like he went on his lunch break, and he went and like he basically because he was on his lunch, he couldn't wait for the barber that he wanted. I don't think, and
Mm,
he came back and like you would swear someone had just told him like he was getting sacked. Like he was in fits because and his fade was grand. Like it was he got a skin fade and he was like calling the barber every name under the sun. Like he was being racist towards her. Like
okay, no.
calling her names for like for being a stupid bitch and all these sort of things. It's like man, like you're gonna go get your haircut again in 6 days, in two
It's literally
days.
gonna grow back.
It's literally it. Like this thing. Like I've gotten loads of haircuts and been like, I don't love that, but it's like it's gonna be in 5 days. You're not gonna be able to tell, like so who cares?
Come on, man. Like you're literally talking to the person who's the king of getting butchered. Even Shaun knows this. Like we could do a whole episode
Yeah,
about the bad haircuts I've had over the years. I've had
yeah,
better haircuts here than in Ireland, which is crazy to say. I'm in a fucking foreign country. But yes, the performative male. If you have any I'll put up on the story after next week after our last episode. If you want to give us what you believe is, this performative male aspect, do send them in. I think we'll get a good giggle out of it, and we'll all chat about the new format of the performative male.
sounds good.
Yeah.
Right. Anyway, moving into current affairs, we touched a little bit on music in the last section there, and the EP lineup was announced for this year in Stradbally, which is going to be in August, I believe. I think it's the August bank holiday weekend, isn't it? Most years.
Yeah,
So yeah, the kind of notable ones that I have here are Gorillas, Fontaine, CMAT, two names that we've already mentioned in this episode. Skepta is playing as well. You've
yeah.
got
So really big artists.
yeah, you've got Joe, and you've also got, this is one that I kind of picked out. I was like, oh shit! Like when I spotted the name on the poster, is Violet Grohl, who is Dave Grohl, the Foo Fighters' daughter.
Yeah, pretty cool. I also seen Geese as well. I don't know if you said that one there. Geese is a big popular
I did
band at the
actually.
moment going around.
I didn't see Geese
Um,
were on there, but that's interesting.
yeah, they're beside. It's weird because like on that day, it's like three completely different artists. It's like Geese, Jade. She's from the Little Mix, I think, and then Obscure is like a techno band or DJ group from Dublin. So it's funny to like the lineup sometimes for Electric Picnic. Like I know they're not like it's like on that day, like it's across the whole weekend, but it's like sometimes when you read it, it's like, oh, how are they all going to work together?
Yeah,
Have you been to EP?
I've
Is
never
that
been
is
to
that
any
something
festival.
you've never been to any festival? I worked at EP at one of my first jobs. It's good vibes. I've never actually been to the festival. It just doesn't appeal to me. I'm not too big on the camping side of things. I just don't see the appeal for 3 weekends, especially because it's very much like festival drinking atmosphere. I'm sure it would be fun if you go with your friends to go for a weekend and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I've
yeah,
just never been drawn to, like, I think especially for like EP, there's like I suppose one of the things that's great about it is there's such a diverse lineup. You've got like even like the names that we
yeah,
listed there, like you've got like some rock, you've got some general pop, you've got like
just
some
some
more
rap
rappy
artists
bits.
as well.
You've got
Yeah,
like a really good mix of things. I personally, from my, I wouldn't be like, I don't think I'd mind the camping thing, but I don't know. Like I feel like it's just not something that I'm particularly drawn to. Like there was one day a few years ago, I think it was 2022, where on the Sunday, like five of my 10 favorite bands were all playing on the Sunday, and I was fuming that I wasn't there because you had Arctic Monkeys, the Coronas,
yeah. I remember
the
this year.
Academic, Hudson Taylor, and Snow Patrol. I think all played on one day, and like that's just a fucking
Yeah,
incredible
it's you
lineup. Like
you
you
all
know.
over like yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was upset I wasn't at that one, but yeah, I've never really gotten FOMO from it. Like I don't like
No,
I see like the queues of traffic getting out of it, and like I've heard some mad, interesting stories nonetheless. Like I'm not saying they're bad stories, but I've heard some kind of crazy things coming out of it as well. And like I just don't think that's quite my vibe. I'd like to play it someday. Just I with those announcements, I must have missed that email. I must have missed that mail in my inbox, MCD. So yeah, just ping me an email and and the lads will be there, no problem in Strab Valley. I absolutely love EP. I love festivals. I go all the time.
yeah. Clip that.
With that. But yeah, so is there like, are you happy? I suppose you won't be able
I
to go
think for me
regardless.
because it's like I'm so far away and I've like never gone to a lot of my friends go every year they've been gone like the past 3 4 years. It's like really big for them, but it's just never been a thing for me that I've been kind of like, oh, I'd love to go. I mean, I always like to look at the lineup because I like to see like which artists that they bring in and stuff like that, and it's like a kind of a big thing for anyone that likes going to gigs or festivals, like that kind of aspect of it. I actually do think the lineup's actually not bad this year. There's it's a lot of mainstream artists and there's some niche cuts as well. But I think the whole weekend it's always a good time, and I think it's just good to keep pushing this festival big. As obviously it's the biggest one in Ireland, so I think it'd be nice to keep pushing this lineup, getting bigger each time. I think it brings more of a crowd to the idea of EP as well, which is always good. So yeah, I was happy with the lineup. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then also in the news this week, we've had a lot of rumors around Katie Taylor doing her final fight in Croke Park. Is Eddie
Hmm.
Hearn's her promoter? I think, isn't he? He's trying to
Yeah,
get the
yeah,
fight going.
yeah.
I heard somewhere. Now look, I'm not going to pretend to be the biggest boxing fan in the world. I obviously know who Katie Taylor is,
Of
and
course.
like she's done so much for women's boxing, and like just genuinely like sports women in Ireland. She's such a great inspiration. But I've heard that like what they're considering doing is putting Tyson Fury against Anthony Joshua as the headliner, and
Yeah.
then putting Katie Taylor versus I don't know who they're proposing she fights against as the undercard. That would be class. Again, I'm not the biggest boxing fan. I watch the big pay-per-view fights sometimes, um, but like yeah, I think that would be really really cool to see
I
happen.
am, I am, I am a person as well that kind of like Sean, like kind of watches the big fights and I keep somewhat kind of up to date with like the heavyweights and stuff like that. As someone who has watched Katie Taylor over the years, I do think it's a bit on the other side is like to look at it as some sort of like bad taste because I feel like she deserves to get like the headline because it's her final fight. I know it's still, to put it be on my card with Fury and AJ, probably the biggest fight in the last 10 years, I would say, in terms of heavyweights. It'd be great for her to get that kind of, that like send off. But then the other side of it, just to play like devil's advocate, is like the amount of like the crowd that will be coming over would be like my biggest worry, because you're getting like a lot of drunk, coked up idiots coming to Croke Park, and obviously someone who's like big into watching the GA and like man into it. It's like I don't like this the aspect of that style, but I do think it would be good for the idea of bringing more major events to Dublin, as I know you're going to bring in for our next point. But yeah, I don't know. That's like my two sides of it. But I do think it's a good thing. I do think Katie deserves a good send off in Croke Park in front of like a home crowd. I think that would be great. But yeah, we just gotta wait and see. I think there's so many things that goes into these planned out things that they need to make sure, like safety reasons, how much each person's getting paid, and there's so much that goes into it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I agree with you as well. I the thing about this is like I love this idea on paper for like
yeah,
doing her own, like doing a fight as the main card at a boxing fight, but like is she going to sell that many tickets in Croke Park, especially when you consider like she's gonna have to she's gonna have to fight against somebody else who's gonna have to bring a crowd as well. And like this
true.
is nothing against the women in sport or anything like that. I'm genuinely just looking at it from like a practical point of view. It's like I just with events like that, when you're selling, when you're putting on events in Croke Park, you want them to be guaranteed sellouts. Like
Yeah, yeah,
the only events that go on in Croke Park that aren't guaranteed sellouts are some GAA matches in the early rounds, like and even at that they still sell very well, like
yeah.
but it's obviously owned by the GAA, like so they're happy with that because they're going to make money off it regardless. Whereas there's a lot more, like there's a lot more pockets involved in with events like this, like so. Look,
Yeah, I also think
I
you're
think it'd
kind
be
of right that needs to be another big fight on the card for them to sell the tickets. Is kind of what you're saying.
and that's why I think the
Yeah.
Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua thing is kind of like
Oh yeah, it'd be
a good
huge.
answer
Yeah,
to that as well. But yeah,
yeah,
it could. I don't know because I think Katie Taylor is like she's a big enough name in boxing as a whole. Like it's like I think it's
yeah.
like
True.
Serena Williams in tennis. Like people don't really take gender into account. Like she's one of the best sportswomen in her sport. Like and she's a
Definitely.
household name in that way. Like so I think Katie deserves the same treatment in that aspect as well.
And one thing I actually would say, because I know we are close for time and stuff like that, but I always enjoyed the way Katie carried herself in sport. Like
100%.
she's always been one of the people like you'd actually be happy if your nephew, your niece, your cousin like was inspired by Katie. So I like the way she carries herself. So I think she deserves a good send off.
100%, 100%. And just a final thing to touch on as well. Speaking of Croke Park, there's been talks that Croke Park is in the bids to host a Champions League final in the
Which would
coming
be
years,
very cool.
which I think is brilliant. I think it's mad how they haven't done that already because it's just like it's not free money, like but it's like it's a huge sporting event in one of Europe's biggest stadiums. Like I find it crazy that they haven't done it there because I think Croke Park is like the fifth biggest stadium in Europe.
Yeah,
It's
something like
around
that.
that market. Like there's much smaller stadiums that have hosted Champions League finals now. I do think there's a lot of work that would need to go into developing Croke Park to bring it up to like that level when you look at the stadiums that have hosted the Champions League final in the last couple of years. But I think it's something I'd absolutely love to see. It'd be great for the Irish economy. We saw the Europa League final come here. I think it was 2 years ago with
Yeah,
Atlanta and Bayern Leverkusen, and
yeah,
it's great. It's good for the Marge going. It's good for the economy.
yeah, yeah.
So why not? I think it'd be great.
I'd also love to go to a Champions League final, even if the United weren't involved, like just to see what the
Yeah,
atmosphere would be like. I'd say it's immense, especially like if it was like big clubs like Real Madrid, like the crowd they'd bring in and be crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I think you'd have like a lot of neutrals trying to get into that game. Where they can't.
yeah. Why not? Why not?
Why not
Yeah.
exactly? Yeah, but that's it for current affairs this week, and we're gonna move on to your distance dilemma, guys. This is the part of the show where you guys send us in submissions, and we're gonna read them out and give our opinions on them. These are all done totally anonymously. Like I said, we're gonna be taking a break for a couple of weeks, so if you want at any point over the next few weeks to send us in a dilemma for us to read when we get back, if you just go to the link in our Instagram bio, there's a form you can fill out there. Again, it's all totally anonymous. We cannot see who submits them. All we can see is the dilemma that's been put in front of us. Anyway, this week I'm really interested in this, to be honest. I'm a bit kind of puzzled with this. I'm not sure what to make of it. But anyway, here we go. This week's dilemma is: over the past 2 to 3 weeks with the fuel protests, I noticed some of my friends resharing videos from accounts that I usually strongly disagree with. The accounts have spread right wing ideas previously, and I feel really disappointed in some of my friends, but I haven't said anything to them. These videos they share specifically weren't particularly bad, but when I saw they followed the account, I was almost angry at them and I wanted to confront them. Am I wrong? I
Yeah,
just
I
talked a
I
lot
saw when
there.
you sent this in. There's a lot in this, and I think the biggest thing I took from just the first initial read and like the first initial saying you were saying there was, I don't think you're in the wrong for sharing how you feel about something that you're just like you don't agree with. I mean, look for example, like there's me and stuff like me and Shaun share a podcast, and like there's stuff that me and Shaun do when we're talking about a podcast that not necessarily like I agree with or like he agrees with some things like ideas I say and stuff like that. Like I think if you're friends with someone, you should be able to you know not agree on everything. And especially when politics comes into play, it always is such a big narrative in terms of like people have lost friendships over politics, and because it's such a subsided view of how people perceive things, it's always so much bigger in the limelight. But I do think if it's something that you fully disagree with in this situation, I do think it's might well, if you feel uncomfortable with what they were sharing, to just let them know about it. They don't have to agree with exactly what you said and like how you perceive what they were sharing. I do know what they said, like not necessarily they said here, not necessarily they shared anything particularly bad, but because they saw the accounts that they were following, they got angry at them. So yeah, again, I feel like there's a lot to digest in, but just from an initial viewpoint of it, I know I'm going to read a bit more when Shaun speaks, but I would say, don't be afraid to like speak up and like just say like, look, I wasn't happy with how you shared this and stuff like that, because they might also take that as like, okay, at least that you were big enough to talk about your own opinion to them and stuff like that. So that's my initial read of it. I don't know what's your initial read before you kind of deviate into it a bit better.
Yeah, I've kind of felt similarly about stuff over the last kind of few years. I've seen people who I would consider close friends. I've seen family. I've seen people share contents that I'm a bit like, I don't. I really strongly disagree with the person. And there's actually a particular. When I read this before we started, I pulled up this account because there's an account on Instagram that I think is genuinely just so poisonous, and I urge anybody who is following this account to unfollow. And there's people as I've gone onto this account here, I'm really disappointed to see there's people I know and love that follow this account. It's an account called Think About This. He's got over 1 million followers, this guy, and he seems to be some sort of streamer. And I've seen a couple of his videos, and he doesn't outwardly say anything extremely right wing or, but what he does is and I know this because I've been working in social media for a while. He leans on the suggestive stuff, and he specifically shares content and like reacts to content that says stuff about foreigners in Ireland, about kind of like topics that lead to
Ah, okay.
comments being generated that are right wing and people being like, "Oh, look at what's being let into the country," and it's always the small 1% that he's focusing on.
Mm.
It's an account that wrecks my head, and I've got it pulled up here. The account is called Think About This. He's got
It's
over 1 million followers.
Michael McCarthy, I think is his name.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and and what pisses me off most is his bio says saying what we're all thinking.
Mm.
I disagree with pretty much everything this fella fucking posts. So he's not saying what I'm thinking as an Irishman. Like, I think the contents that he posts is really fucking suggestive. It's right wing lenient, and I think it's just disgusting. I think I'm honestly like I really judge anybody who like would follow him. To be quite honest with you, I think what he says and the way he leans into things, he's just spreading nothing but bad ideas and hate. And this thing is, what's annoying about him is he doesn't actively say, "Look what these foreigners are doing." He doesn't actively say these things, but the
It's
content he knows,
suggestive.
it's all suggestive, and it's stuff that he knows will generate comments and will push these agendas. That's just going to lead to people, like lead to people being against. I don't know how to phrase this properly, but it'll lead to people, having certain viewpoints on minority groups in the country, and yeah, like it's always stuff about lads who are foreign. Like, he never shares videos of like Irish lads causing harm to people on Dublin bus. It's always like a foreigner was doing something to young girls on a bus, which is horrible, by the way. I'm not trying to say like, you know, he doesn't bring like, you know, highlights to certain issues. I'm not saying that at all, but it's always, you know, the 1% of foreigners that he targets, and it's never Irish people that he targets with these type of videos that he makes.
Yeah, I kind of spoke about this last week about the misinformation of news and like pushing narratives. Like obviously Finn's talking about kind of the right wing aspect of it there. It's the same thing. It's like I disagree a lot with kind of this push that's been building in Ireland over the recent years with the right wing push. Do I also believe that people should have their own opinion? Yes, I do, but then it does kind of come into limelight. It's like I don't necessarily sometimes agree with the right wing push. And I'd be very disappointed in like a lot of my friends. And like I do know that some of my friends have these ideologies of like how the country should be run, how you should think and stuff like that. And that's the reason like a lot of people have, I've said it before, like a lot of people have fallen out, you know, lost friendships over the idea of politics and like how we should all think and your viewpoint of the world and stuff. But it's some stuff like this in like bad limelight where it's like you're sharing this to other people and they're getting their own perspectives and then they might judge you at a certain viewpoint. It's kind of hard to differentiate because then you're like thinking like, for example, like I'm Irish, but my name's Imran, I'm half Pakistani. It's like, would they judge me differently because I'm not fully national? Like, do they see me in a different limelight? And you kind of start thinking like things of, do my friends view me and family members view me in this limelight and things. So yeah, it's a thin line and I think it's hard to differentiate. But I would say back to the point, sorry, I know we kind of went both long and went around a bit of a rant there, but I would say, you know, the best thing I would say in this situation is just let them know your viewpoint. Let them speak to them about what that bothered you. And then maybe look, if they take it in the wrong way, they take it in the wrong way, but at least then you got something off your chest instead of holding it in, you know.
Yeah, I agree with you, and it's like I said, it's actually something I've kind of seen myself with friends and family. So, yeah, like I'd be a bit of a hypocrite to just be like, yeah, do exactly like that because I
Yeah, of
felt the
course.
same way and not done it. To be
Same.
honest with you, but yeah, realistically, you should speak up to your friends about this. But I know it's a lot easier said than done.
True.
And yeah, I respect you for bringing it up, and thank you for bringing it up because
Yeah.
I think it's an important thing to be talking about. Like, but yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
guys, thank you very much. We're going to wrap things up here. As we mentioned at the start of the episode, there is not going to be an episode of The Distance Dilemma next week. We're going to be taking a short break, but we will be back in January. Oh, sorry, not January, in June with brand new episodes. So until then, guys, I just want to say thank you so much for listening to the last couple of episodes. We've been going weekly since September. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We really appreciate all the love and support. Thank you so much for submitting your dilemmas. Thank you so much for all the feedback, all your comments, all your DMs about the episodes every week. It really does mean a lot to us, and it gives us the drive to keep on going. Do you want to say anything before we sign off?
Yeah, kind of everything Shaun kind of reiterated there. Just want to thank everyone for the support. I'm always getting messages off people as well saying they enjoyed episodes and stuff like that. You know who is there. So the support doesn't go unnoticed and we're greatly appreciative for every submission and everything you send in, guys.
Cool. Right, guys. We will chat to you in a few weeks. Thank you so much for listening to episode number 62 of The Distance Dilemma. My name is Shaun. I'm in Dublin, Ireland. This has been Imran. He is in Thun, Switzerland. And we will be back in June with brand new episodes. Until then, guys, thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll chat to you soon.